You're about to get
Well, that's a little specific, Imagine. Raise your hand, Kash is going to call on you. How did picking rulers impact an imperial country? People we haven't heard from yet. Okay, don't raise your hand. Kash is going to call on you. It's going to cause this resentment, right? And we see this time after time after time. We see it in Nigeria when the British leave, as we'll see in a moment. We see it in Rwanda. Has anyone ever heard of the Rwandan genocide of 1994?
Yep.
Okay. We're told Rwanda, in 100 days, 100,000 Tutsis were killed because, in part, Tutsis is an ethnic group in Rwanda. Because when the British and the Belgians and the Germans were in charge of Rwanda, I'm sorry, not the British, when the Belgians and the Germans were in charge of Rwanda, they put the Tutsis in charge of everyone else. Okay. So, once they were gone, we had this huge anger at that Tutsi, that minority group. Please.
Or couldn't they, like, if they didn't even like it, couldn't they just revolt or, like, do a speech to make them revolt, like, if you took that to notice?
That's an awesome question. If you guys don't like the rule of Darren, DeAndre, and Marco, couldn't you just revolt? Well, no, because I, as the British Empire, or as the French Empire, or as the Belgian Empire, I've given them a whole lot of money, weapons, support. So they have just more advanced weapons than you. Lastly, we talked about as a building block of imperialism, we talked about this West is best idea. Stop laughing. We talked about this West is best idea, where the education wasn't about Kenya, it wasn't about Indonesia, it wasn't about Mali, it wasn't about Sierra Leone. Now it was about Europe, or in the Philippines, for example, it was about. What effect is this going to have on the colonized countries?
They're not going to know history about their own countries.
If you had to pick one reason I'm a history teacher, it's this. Why is it so bad not to know your own history? Why would it be a problem if the people of Nigeria didn't know Nigerian history, Nigerian languages, Nigerian culture?
They're going to start believing what the Europeans are telling them.
They might start believing what the Europeans are telling them, and what's so wrong about that?
You don't know their own country.
What's so wrong about that?
You don't know where you came from.
Yeah, yes, and yes, and yes. I'm just pushing it a little bit further. Let's talk about race for a second. Right? If you are not learning the history of anyone that is your own race, anyone that's your own ethnicity, what's that going to do? How are you going to start to feel about your own race, your ethnicity? Who can help her out? If you go to school and you never hear about any contributions, anything positive that your race or your ethnicity has done, someone we haven't heard from, what's the effect of that?
They're gonna start impacting on them to go against each other.
In what way?
Telling them different things about their cultures that they might not know about.
So you could be kind of manipulated, could be a little bit controlled. And what would it do, I agree with that, what would it do to your self-confidence? What would it do to your self-image?
Well, you would have a low self-esteem because you won't know where you're from while everyone else knows where they're from and like their background history. So you'll be kind of lost, and also you would, if they didn't know their history, they would start to follow the Europeans' practices and what they believe too. So instead of having their own beliefs about their culture and background, they would follow other people's, which would influence other people too.